Let's talk about something we've all experienced. That meeting. The one where everyone's nodding, everyone seems to agree, but absolutely nothing gets decided. It's one of the most maddening puzzles in the modern workplace. Well, today, we're gonna crack it.
You know the feeling, right? That frustrating loop of endless talk, smiles, and nods that just goes nowhere. It feels like you're running in circles. We've all been there, and it turns out there's a really fascinating hidden reason why this happens.
So, to get to the bottom of this, let's follow the story of a guy named Ajay. He's a senior marketing manager with a really sharp team. The problem is, his push for everyone to collaborate has kind of backfired, creating a team that's completely paralyzed by indecision. His story is going to be our roadmap here.
All right, first up, we need to really understand the problem. We're going to call it the consensus trap. This is that tricky place where a good intention, getting everyone to agree, actually starts to cause huge problems.
And this right here, this is the heart of the problem for Ajay's team. It's a classic workplace catch-22. On one side, everyone agreeing is praised. It's teamwork, it's alignment. But on the other side, if you step up and take charge of something yourself, well, that feels risky, almost like you're not being a team player.
And what's wild is how this culture creates its own secret language. Brainstorms aren't for hashing out new ideas anymore. They're relabeled alignment sessions. And a quiet room? That doesn't mean everyone agrees. It means people have learned that silence is way safer than speaking up and possibly disagreeing with the group.
So, on the surface, it all looks great, right? Everyone's getting along. But what is the team really paying for this fake harmony? I'll tell you, the cost is a lot higher than just a few wasted hours in a meeting.
And this is where we peel back the layers and get to the really juicy stuff. The team isn't just being indecisive. They are all, unconsciously, playing a very specific psychological game with a very clear set of unwritten rules.
Now, when we say game, we're not talking about something fun. In a field of psychology called transactional analysis, a game is a subconscious pattern of behavior we fall into, and we do it to get a secret psychological payoff. So what's the payoff here? Simple. Avoiding risk. Avoiding blame.
So what's the name of this particular game? Let's all decide together. I mean, it sounds so nice, doesn't it? So cooperative. But its real purpose is to spread responsibilities so thin that if something goes wrong, no single person can ever take the fall.
And this quote from a team member just says it all. This is the unwritten rule book for the game. If you take the call and it flops, it's your head. If it works, it's everyone's credit. See? When you look at it that way, their behavior isn't irrational at all. It's a perfectly logical response to a culture that punishes risk.
But why are they so afraid of risk? Well, it goes even deeper. This game is being fueled by a core belief, something called a life position. And in this case, that belief is, I'm only okay if I don't rock the boat. Sound familiar? It's a pattern so many of us learn as kids to please our parents or teachers, and we drag it right into our careers.
So here's the conflict in a nutshell. The team is operating from what transactional analysis calls their adapted child. It's that part of us that's cautious, compliant, and desperate for approval. But for the team to actually be effective, they need to shift into their adult state, the part that's rational, evaluates the facts, and isn't afraid to take ownership.
Okay, so it all sounds a bit dysfunctional, I know. But here is the good news. This whole pattern can be broken. And for Ajay's team, the change came down to one single, courageous moment that completely flipped the script.
So try to picture the scene. A big strategy meeting. They're 3 hours deep, going back and forth on the tiniest details. The energy in the room is just dead. They are completely stuck in that same old loop of talk, 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 and no action.
Now, just when everyone expects Ajay to finally give in and make the decision for them, he does something completely unexpected. He says, let's try something new. Each of you will own one decision today, and I'll back you fully. He didn't just ask their opinion, he handed over real ownership and, crucially, promised them safety.
And the result? It was explosive. It was immediate. The very next week, the team's execution speed doubled, 2 times faster. This wasn't a small improvement. It was a fundamental shift in how the team worked, and it happened almost overnight.
So what was the magic trick? What actually happened there on a psychological level? Well, in the language of TA, Ajay stopped acting like a parent, trying to protect his team from any possible mistake. Instead, he started treating them like fellow adults, trusting them to make their own calls. It was a shift from parent-child to adult-adult.
But look, one incredible moment isn't a magic wand.
it's the beginning. Now comes the hard part. How do you actually build a lasting culture of ownership? How do you make this change stick? And this is the million-dollar question for every leader, isn't it? How do you empower people without everything just descending into total chaos? The secret is that real autonomy isn't a free-for-all. It's about building a framework where people can take responsible ownership.
And one of the clearest signs of this new culture was in the words they used. The team's language totally shifted. They went from asking, "Should we do this?" to stating, "Here's what I propose." They stopped saying, "Let's check with Ajay," and started saying, "Let's update Ajay." It's a small change in words, but it reflects a massive change in mindset.
So if you want to make this happen, here's the playbook. 3 steps. 1. Start normalizing that language of ownership. 2. Make it safe to decide. That means publicly backing your team's calls, even when they're not perfect. And 3, and this is the hardest one for a lot of managers, you have to stop rescuing them. Let them struggle a little. Let them solve their own problems.
And when you step back, you realize the paradox we started with wasn't really about the group versus the individual. Not at all. The real conflict was between 2 very different ways of working. A culture driven by the fear of being left out versus a culture driven by the confidence to contribute.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Surface harmony is all about avoiding disagreement at all costs. But real collaboration? That's about being able to handle disagreement, like adults. That perfectly quiet, polite meeting room, it's not always a healthy sign.
So I'll leave you with this final question. Take a good, honest look at your own team. Is it built for the false comfort of surface harmony? Or is it truly built for the sometimes messy, but always more productive work of real collaboration? The answer just might change everything.